What's going on, chat? Today we are doing a quick deck profile. We did Thursday night fights today on August 21, and we played about 4 rounds here. Yeah, we played 4 rounds here. It's a small event, kept at 32 players, and yeah, 24 people showed up. We were able to go 3-1 and get 4th because of good breakers. So yeah, we'll go over the deck real quick. So we're playing Viktor Midrange today. This is my list. It is playing a lot of good cards and some cards that need to be moved around. We have obviously Viktor as our chosen, yellow Viktor as our chosen champion. We're playing all the good blue cards. We're playing 3 Smokescreen, 3 Sprite Mother, 3 Singularities, and 2000 Tail Watcher. And our battlefields are Trefarian War Camp, Obelisk of Power, and Candlelit Sanctum. Yeah, now I'm going to go over some of these cards. A lot of these cards are pretty obvious, but some of the interactions are a little less obvious. I'm not sure that's a good way to describe it. So these battlefields, the way that I do it is game 1, Candlelit Sanctum. We just do that as a general. We don't know if we're going first. You know, we can kind of just get the effect of the Sanctum to kind of fix smooth out our draws. And you know, something about Vision 2, as they call it in Riftbound, instead of scrying a bit. Yeah, the ability to fix the top 2 of your deck goes a long way, especially if you know your way around the format. And what I mean by that is, if you're familiar with your opponent's deck, you can kind of fix up your draws to see what you need in the current game state, right? And since Viktor gets a lot of bodies on the board pretty quickly, there's a pretty good chance that we can hit a Sanctum trigger maybe like twice and maybe even 3 times in a game. And that can be the difference, because we can just, if we're ahead, we can just start looking for some removal. If we're behind on board, we can maybe start looking for units. It really depends. Like, if they have medium-sized units, we can dig for a Singularity. If we are at 5 points and we're looking to close a game, we can just bottom 2. We can recycle 2 and look aggressively for Watchers and Singularities. Yeah, that's kind of the Sanctum. Is the draw to the Sanctum in game 1 is you can really just dig deep for the broken cards that you need to find your way, to really fix the game state in your favor. Sometimes you'll keep a Cruel Patron on top because you're playing against Kaisa and she has difficulty removing Patron. Other times you're going to put Patron to the bottom because they can efficiently clear Patron. Or against Leona, for example, sometimes you just don't want to draw into a Patron because you know that they can stun it and it's going to just end poorly for you. If you have to play the Patron in the following turn and then use a creature, or spend kill one of your creatures to play it, and then it's just too slow. Yeah, if you know how to see, or it rewards. I really like this battlefield because it rewards a lot of knowledge and sequencing, and I just I think that's very skill expressive from my perspective. So yeah, that'll be game 1. One thing that I've noticed recently is that Stupefy and Sanctum look really good in game 1, especially if there's like a Raven Boon student. Sometimes you can just win a lot of weird combats because your student gets big off of a Stupefy, Hidden Blade, and you can Sanctum, and you can put whatever you want on top and then immediately get access to it with Stupefy. And then later on, when you're, you know, playing against maybe Set or Yi or something, that Stupefy is kind of and Stupefy is kind of against some decks, or feels very and we can go over that in a second. But yeah, it's pretty good in game one, and I've noticed that I've been siding out a lot of these in some number, depending on the opponent's deck. Okay, so we'll go over some of the ratios here. We are playing for our early units. We're playing 3 Ravenbloom Student, 3 Soaring Scout, and 3 Daring Poro. These I feel a little skeptical, but Student is really good. It like my first instinct is to just get rid of it, but there are a lot of times where this Student has just, you know, sometimes it just goes to 4 might because you did like Stupefy, or you like Singularity'd and Hidden Bladed or something in like the mid to end game. Sometimes it's just 4 might, and that is much better than a Daring Poro that is maximum 3. And this can be higher might on defense. That's why I really like this. I've been thinking about whether these are supposed to be watchful students, but I would maybe cut Poro before I would cut Student. But I'm really considering these ratios currently, and if 3 Stupefy is right, I think it is for a game 1 main board. But we can. There's just a lot of times where I'm okay with just going to 2. Now, see, our small or our cheaper interaction consists of Hidden Blade, Smokescreen, and Call of the Week. I've been looking around this Call of the Week. I have been considering whether it is a 2 of or a 3 of, or 2 in the main, 1 in the side. I have liked Call of the Week at 3. It did wonders for me today. It could also just be results oriented, which I really don't like that, obviously, but I think it's fine. I'm gonna stick with it for now, but I have seen other Victor lists at 2. I think we'll be good at 3 though. The next question is, I've also seen other Victor lists play 3 Watchful Student or Watchful Sentry. That's a 1 might draw. It's just like the Scout. It's in blue. Draws a card when it dies. Yeah, I do like this Poro though. There are a lot of interesting little interactions. Like, for example, if you're playing against Kaisa, you have if you have the Poro and you have the War Camp, you can actually attack into a board or into the War Camp. If it's unoccupied, it'll have 4 might, so that means that they can't just get rid of it with a Hextech Ray. And if you just pass the turn and you don't go on a different battlefield, then you'll actually just be able to eat the Poro there, or excuse me, you'll be able to just keep the Poro until their turn, and they'll have to Hextech Ray it at that point if they want to. Okay, so some overperformers, or something that is a little different, is this Noxian Drummer. This Noxian Drummer, I think, has a lot of interesting value, right? So purple, this came up in my round 1 against Timo, and it also comes up a lot against Kaisa, which is a deck that you will be seeing a good amount, because that deck is really good. So if you have a Noxian Drummer and you just go into an empty battlefield, it's immediately 2 bodies, right? So they can't Hextech Ray this and stop you from conquering. I think that has so much value that it's hard to just get rid of this card. And in a post board situation, or in a game 2, game 3 situation, I generally choose War Camp when I win, or when my opponent is on the play, or when my opponent is going first. Yeah, so if my opponent goes first and I have War Camp, this Drummer becomes especially valuable, because you can have 6 might going into the war camp, and it's just really good. I think that the value into Kaisa and other, other decks that like to have their single target removal to stop you from conquering, I think the value is just insanely high. Obviously, it is vulnerable to a falling star hitting it, but what are you gonna do? you can't just not play cards because they play falling star, right? Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Drummer currently, and it is obviously good with stratagem, but we can talk about that when we get there. Faithful Manufacturer, I think, is a very good card. It can, if you're going second, you get 2 bodies out of it. Now, you probably can just play a 2-drop, 1-drop, or 2-drop. If you're going second and have 3 runes, you can play a 2-drop and your legend ability to make a recruit. But generally, just a 1-card Manufacturer is also just totally serviceable in that situation. If you want to keep, let's say, for example, you are playing against Master Yi or Set, and you want to keep an opening hand that has Singularity in a Cold Week, and and you have a Manufacturer, you're not going to be sad that you can't mull things away. That's totally fine. Give me a second. Yeah. So about Manufacturer, it's just, I think this card is pretty good. This card is also could be one of the cards that could be cut. I'm not sure. I don't think so. I don't think this card is on the chopping block. It's just a really good card. Cruel Patron now is I think a pretty good card. It also is good into Kaisa. Pretty good into a lot of matchups, because one of the things that happens very often is you would send a recruit. Your opponent has a unit, and then you send a recruit to a battlefield to take a point, and then you just use the patron to immediately get it off the battlefield, so that the opponent can't just eat it for free. Yeah, that's one of the nicer play patterns that the deck provides. And we have next, the remaining cards are pretty much just broken cards. Singularity, no brainer. Thousand Tail Watcher, Sprite Mother, no brainer. We'll talk about this Fallen Comet in a second, but so Sprite Mother's just really good. Stops. I feel like we could just do a whole, Sprite Mother has its own video about why it's so good. The same thing for Thousand Tail Watcher. There's just so much that you can do with these cards that is really crazy. Like, you can defend for 6 with 4. You just do so much. You can defend with 8 with a war camp. Yeah, that's really good for holding, really good for taking. You send the sprite to eat like a 2 might creature. For example, it could eat a traveling merchant or a Ravenbloom student. You can use that to just kind of have the opponent use interaction when they don't want to. So just Sprite Mother is pretty good. Now I'm thinking about this Watcher, whether it should be a 3 of. I think I was at 3 for a moment. I think I might go back. We can go back to 1 Comet. Comet is a very hit or miss card. Very good into definitely very good into Yi. Okay into Set. And okay into Kaisa. Not the best into Kaisa. Kaisa is very hit or miss with Kaisa. But not bad either. It's just serviceable. Mirror Match, it's I don't even know, man. This is so bad. Like, this deck is not very teched for the Mirror Match at all. Like, when I face Mirror Match, I just feel bad. This Evangel might help, and so will Stratagem, but it's whatever. I'm probably gonna move this Comet to a Watcher, And our sideboard is, you know, interesting. I'm not a fan of stratagems in the main board, but I really think that stratagem has a place in some matchups that's mostly Yi and Set. So in Yi, this can beat primal strength very easily. It can beat, you know, their little 2 toughness bonus with the legend very easily. They often don't play wind walls, and it's a non-zero number, but a lot of lists I don't see have more than, or a lot of lists I see of Yi don't have it in the main board, or it would be 1. It's very opinionated. I think that's a very opinionated decision whether they play Windwall or not. I just don't think game 1 stratagem is necessary. A lot of the times you kind of just make a lot of units and start going for points and get to 6 as fast as possible. You don't even need stratagem. You're not going for like a 1-1-1-1-1 type of control oriented point scheme. You're really looking at a kind of you're trying to go 2-2-1-1-1 or something, 2-2-2-1-1-2, something like that, or 2-1-1-2. Like you're kind of looking for as many double captures as you can, and stratagem is fine, but you have Watcher, right? We have Watcher at 8. And yeah, the main problem that I see with stratagem is I think I need to go back to 6 and 6 on runes just to make sure I can cast this, or I can play this. But yeah, Evangel is very interesting into Kaisa, especially if we have War Camp. And it's good with both War Camp and Obelisk of Power, right? The Obelisk of Power is our go first battlefield. And, you know, we get this out. We get the Machine Evangel out like turn 2, and Kaisa against Machine Evangel, it could get annoying real quick because they'd have to use the Void. What's it called? Void Missile. The four deal 4. They'd have to use the Void Missile to get rid of this Evangel, and it's a very feels bad line for them. The Riptide Rex is a sideboard, for obviously for Yi and Set, which they have, medium-sized units that we want to get rid of. Like one reason why I really like this Grand Stratagem in the sideboard is because, or sometimes orange decks will mostly Master Yi, but sometimes orange decks will play Unyielding Spirit, which means that no spell damage spell or ability damage goes through that turn. So stratagem is the way around that, right? They can't Unyielding Spirit stratagem and the tokens. This may be a main board option, but it does not seem like a good idea in a lot of matchups. And game 1, it seems too slow as we are tailoring the deck to play with Sanctum a little bit. I am playing 3 Salvage because I am expecting a few things, right? Just to respect the big decks, the big ramp decks with Aurora. So that would be MF and Volibear. We're also just siding into against Spirit's Refuge decks like Master Yi, and we could see an RE2, but I don't think they really play Refuge. They can, right? Lee Sin would play Refuge, but yeah. So those are the deck choices, and I think we will be moving a few items around, but we'll see about that. So we'll go over quickly some of our matchups. Our round 1 was against, where are they? Sama BR. I'm pretty sure that they should have been on. They were on Teemo round 1. That was an interesting game where all their hidden cards were always consult when I thought it was something else, and then it was just they had a pretty cool deck. They would use Tide Turner to move around Thousand Tail Watcher, and they would just win a lot of combats that way. But we did end up winning. We were able to, like, for example, in game 1, we can just use Candlelit Sanctum to aggressively dig for removal, like Coal, the Weak, and Singularity. So a problem that the Teemo or not just the Teemo deck, but the hidden decks have, or hidden base decks have, is if they can't stick anything on a battlefield, a lot of the value starts to go away, right? That's why or that would be a weakness, and that's why you aggressively just look for removal, and then we would sideboard just a Riptide Rex pretty much. So we ended up being able to win in round 1. Round 2 we played against where is he? Played against Newman here. He was playing Volibear. We played with him multiple times on in the Riftbound community server. Really nice guy. He just played Volibear. There were some sticky games where I didn't have the salvage to beat the Aurora. We were able to beat Aurora in game 1, but but that's just because we had the removal for everything before that point. In game 2, he just had 2 Auroras and just started taking over the board, and he had 3 of the 12 cost Volibears on the board, and that was it. I couldn't. It doesn't matter, because the crazy thing about the 12 cost Volibear is that even if you have a Watcher, it has that Volibear has shield 3, so it's essentially not, in a way, it's not losing stats. It goes from like 12 to 9 back to 12 or some crazy thing. It just doesn't matter. Game 3 we were able to salvage and just we got the salvage on time and just able to win that. So yeah, we were able to get that close game 3 and win there. Round 3 was against T Simple T. He was on Kaisa. We had a lot of we had 3 interesting games, pretty close game 3, but he ended up winning in the end. He had 2 Acadian Reigns, which is crazy. He was able to get 2. But it's kind of crazy because these Evangels were, they did a lot. They did a lot in game 2. In game 3, I think I just started to draw the wrong part of my deck. So I started drawing stuff like Student, Poro, Scout towards the mid game where I didn't want them, and then he just, like, for example, I think I just like played a Poro and a Scout one turn or something. He just Acadian Rained, and then it was like, whoops! I think I just lost the game. But yeah, so that was pretty good, and that's why I was able to place fairly high, or place on the top half of the 3-1s, just because the one who beat me, or my only loss, was the guy who took it home, and I imagine these are the other ones he beat, because I beat, he beat me round 2 or round 3, yeah, and then he beat him round 4. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so round 4 we played against Mr. Tog, the set king. He does he's putting up these numbers on set, but today he was playing Leona. Leona's a very interesting deck. They have a lot of things that they can do. He was playing a pretty cool brew, Zenith Blade, Sona, Shen. It's a lot of really cool concepts that I think were pretty cool. I think what happened was It's a little closer in game 3. I think he ran out of units. I don't really remember how he. Yeah. Yeah. It's either he ran out of units or I just had. I think I just had a singularity at the end that beat him. But you know, that's that's how blue goes, right? You just have singularity and you. You clean out their mid-sized threats and the game goes pretty favorably in your direction. He did beat a singularity though in game 2, which was really crazy. What did he do? He had a Sona with a buff on it and he used Call the Glory to save it with the singularity. Or save it from the singularity. I was like, oh god, dude, I can't believe this is about to beat me right now. Or yeah, but yeah, very interesting games today. Some close games. Yeah, I think I will be making some changes maybe to the 2-drop slot. I'm really not sure, but yeah, I'm liking mid-range Viktor so far, but parts of the deck feel clunky. I'm not even sure if you need stratagem. Stratagem's obvious. It's probably sideboard. We'll see. I gotta keep messing around with this, but anyway, yeah, we will be playing some more Viktor in future events, I think. So for now, I've been enjoying the Viktor gameplay. It's not too crazy, you know. You just make a lot of sequencing matters a lot, you know. Deck building matters a lot. Yeah, sometimes there's a lot of times where you can use your interaction to really play around stuff, and your interaction is just very strong in a lot of cases, you know, like Call of the Week, very strong into set and Master Yi. So yeah, I'm gonna be sticking with Viktor for a while, but yeah, if anyone watching, you know, has any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I'd love to have a discussion about Viktor. I'm really liking Viktor for now, and yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later.